Stay only as the awareness itself, in which the sense of the person and the voice, this interactive presence, which is listening to the mind and your self-assessments, which especially as you began to wake up to a deeper truth of yourself, you're going to find that even the struggles may seem even more strong. Like something, you've been living under the mafia's protection. And now you want to step out. Yes, I want to travel to another place. And it's a, What is this mafia I see? This belief of your inabilities, not of your abilities. You see? And you say, I can't feel anything at the moment. This is fine. This is fine. It is no wonder when you've had a checklist like you had before. What was your aspiration for what? Now as you're discovering, say, don't be holding on to any aspiration for anything at all. In fact, let's broaden it to say, if I can include everybody in this, that if I were to ask you just for a few moments, a few moments only, to not hold on to anything at all, any shape about yourself. Would you like to try this for a few moments? Yeah. Just as an exercise, a beautiful exercise. For just these few moments, don't hold on to any shape or self-description about who you are. Let's say that you can just be empty, just leave everything aside just for a few moments. This is not a trick, by the way. There's nothing deceptive about it. Just for a few moments, I want to show you something that perhaps you have not discovered yet. If you leave everything, even the aspiration for freedom, everything aside, just be entirely empty. Like, if everything that you have believed, or that you desire, or that you think about yourself or about life, for a few moments, just leave your engagement with these things for a while. Is it possible? Yes. Do you want to do it? Yes. Okay, so let's do it. Let's just leave everything just alone for a few moments. Okay. And I guarantee at the end of the exercise you can go and pick them back up again. But you must be willing to be just empty for a moment. It's amazing that we can live a life of 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years and not having come to a place where you're empty, except in deep sleep. But now I'm going to ask you consciously to be empty, meaning don't hold on to don't have even any favorite concepts. Leave everything aside for a moment. Just leave everything aside. It's not difficult. Amazingly, you can do it. Leave everything aside for a moment. So whatever you have believed, whatever you have accepted, whatever you think, whatever you imagine, whatever you desire, whatever you're attached to, just for a few moments. If you are empty, leave the senses. The senses are fine. Just leave them as they are. But all the things in memory, in your intention, desire, just leave everything aside. Okay. Until there's nothing more to take out. I said one time to someone, just imagine there was a hole in your eel and I could just take the little plug out and everything just go. That she liked that also. I said everything just leaks out. All your concern, all your problems, all your joys, everything just totally empty. Just be with that. And don't just say, okay, we're playing this game. No, really see that you can be empty. As though you are in deep sleep, but you are awake. Okay, like this. Now, if everything that is not original to you, every thought, feeling, was left aside, okay, there's something that is here that cannot be taken out. You don't have to imagine, because by being very empty, you can immediately see. We're here together like this?
Yes.
Okay, so everything is left aside. Everything that is a thing, every feeling, every thought, every object for a moment is left aside. That you can be totally alone just for these few moments. Empty, 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 empty. Have you vanished? No. So that's whatever it is that is here. Okay? All the memories of who you were and what you have done and what you want to do and all your connections and relatives and all these things, diplomas and all your great victories and your deep defeats, everything left, nothing, no history. Like wiped, delete for a few moments. Now I want you to look from where you are now. Don't hold any shape. Whatever is here now, if everything is left aside for now, are you here or not?
Yes.
Yes. What is here now? Is it personal or impersonal? Please answer though. You sure? Yes, okay. Is it something described as an object? Does it have a shape? Or color or size? Really be present now. Is it a mood? Is it a belief? Is it imagination? Here's a subtle one. Is it a feeling? Did it arrive here? Are you creating something? Whatever it is that is here, is it being kept here by some force?
No.
Does it have a size? I mean, if we could go in any direction, can you come to the end of it? Really be with this for now. Can it fade? Like get weak? Can it disappear? Can it be lost? Can it be sick? Depressed?
No.
Wow. And you are not imagining? Is it a person? Is it an angel? Is it a particular place? Does it have seasons? Okay, let me give you a tough one, you know. Was it born? sure?
Yes.
Can it reject anyone? Does it belong to any particular religion more than anyone? Does it have a name? That's amazing. And may I ask something, one thing now? How close are you to it? Really, this is your question, you see. One step, two step, is you separate from it. Is this a trick?
No.
Is it a game? So, again, I'm going to, just to summarize. You are saying that whatever it is that's really here is not something that you create. You're saying that it's not merely a mood or a feeling. You're saying that it has no limits. You're saying that it cannot be sick. It cannot be depressed. It cannot die. You say it cannot fade. You say it didn't come. Can it go? It cannot go. You're saying it's not your imagination. I ask you, is it a belief? You say, no, it's not a belief. I ask you, can it reject anyone? You say, no, it cannot reject anybody. Is there any place where it is not? No. Then I ask you this thing. Was it born? You say, no. I say, can it die? You say, no. And finally, I think I ask you, how close are you to it? Half a step, one step, a few steps, near or far, you say, no distance. So if these things that you can verify are true, what we are looking at and experiencing is yourself. It must be your true self. And it must be that your true self is not merely an object, it's not merely the body. It is not personal, it is impersonal. It's imperishable, uncreated. It's beyond time, beyond limitation. It cannot be sick. It's not that gets sick. It cannot be depressed. Is it dead?
No.
Then this must be indeed a very magnificent discovery. If it is true. Is it true? Does it have any conditions?
No.
Like, for instance, you better clean up your act and you better do this before you can be this? So what is to be done? Well, there is something. There must be a change in perspective. How can this be true, and at the same time we're deeply suffering? That must be looked at. And satsang is the place where we're looking at that. Because it appears as though something within us is convinced or is capable of being convinced we are not good enough. We're not there. You've made too many mistakes in your life. So this thing is telling you, wait outside, you can't come in, you're no? Is it that this is saying this to you? Or this is whatever we believe is coming from somewhere else? If I were to say, if this is true, would you correct me? It is true. All the behavior that we exhibit from the state of personhood must be revealing that we are living some misconception about ourselves. Is it not fair to say this? Yeah. And that must change. If knowing this, that you have just discovered again, and yet there is some remnant of belief which makes us feel like we have a life that you got to put right and these things are wrong, blah, 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 blah. Can they both be true? Then we need to look at that. Is there a greater truth and a lesser truth? And this is why the life we largely believe is our life is regarded by some as an illusion, as a dream that we must wake up from, like you had a dream in which you believed something for a long time, and something is waking up from this dream. In this example, I'm not saying to cynically, it's all a dream. No. Because even the one who be saying, it's all a dream, it's all rubbish, is also still in a dream, if it feels like this. If we are to be in this dream, at least be awake in this dream. Sit with what you have confirmed. Spend a little time with it and look. If this is so, how can this also be so like this? Are there two realities? We say also that I want to kind of complete today a bit. I don't think we have to spread many questions. Everything is in what I've told you. There's an expression that they say the supreme consciousness is called Brahman, like the attributeless God, God beyond the attributes, and is God with attributes. That which is beyond attributes we refer to as the absolute pure awareness, uncreated, imperishable, unborn, perfect. Some will say it is not the God of man's mind. It's the pure essence. He's that. And there is a Sagun. We call this Nirgun Brahman, meaning that beyond qualities, beyond attributes. Pure, absolute consciousness. And we call Sagun Brahman. as that very one appearing with attributes in this dynamic world of time and change and you and me and the interrelated opposites in the world and the field we call the world of duality, which we know. So, in a sense, we are both. When there is the belief, I am this person, it is consciousness believing I am person. A belief it must outgrow by wisdom and discernment. It is returning to its Nirgun Brahman, self-realization. And yet it cannot throw Sagun Brahman away. When one is aware of either of reaching the purity of Saguna Brahman, or that they are aware of themselves as Nirgun Brahman, just like what we have just been discovering, one brings light into the world. It is not a selfish act. It's not, some people seem to be just concerned about, I need to be free and I. But some, their universality is already expressing in such a broad way. The love for others and the respect for each one is already shining in their lives. Their openness and wisdom is not to serve a personal realization. It's a universal realization. The realization of yourself does not belong to you. It belongs to the whole world. And yet I'm not saying, go out and preach to, no. The sun does not say, look, come to me, I'll give you warmth, I'm shining. You will find you come there, naturally. And so all I say is continue, don't run to be any teacher or nothing like this. But you yourself, prove yourself. We are simply becoming ourselves. A strange thing to say, because largely we are becoming everything other than ourselves. We are returning to the truth of what we are. Beyond concepts, actually. As experiential truth. We have no objection to or prejudice against or, resistance to other ways of discovering God. Because God means the universal consciousness. All the different ways, just like we have, in each race, in each tradition, in each area of the human kingdom, there are different ways in which we live. But everybody must eat. Everybody must sleep. There's something that is fundamental to all. You are discovering your fundamental nature. But you're not a fundamentalist. You are discovering your essential nature, but it's not something that you can do just in your head. It cannot be just an intellectual conviction. And I point about this, that first the intellect gets it, and the ego often is living very near intellect. And if yes, I got it, now I don't have to do anything. But he carries a smell that is not true. Our attention must be internalized. Internal, eternal. The tendency to gravitate towards, problems with things and people and so on are signs that we are still captive in the lower nature. And it's not simply, I'm going to give up the lower nature. The way has been shown, the mirror has been given for each one to discover afresh, uniquely for yourself, the truth that dwells within you as your own real self. And grace will help you. Grace is another name for the pure self. Has anything changed from what you have seen? And yet, out of the momentum of habit, sometimes you may find again, whoa, you're into the noise of personhood. But something is aware that this is just an old reflex and habit, and is aware of that. And in that moment, it's as though you dismount, meaning that you cut to the drive, you log off. And this will become increasingly swift, that you are not pulled into the limited state of personhood. I was saying before, if you take a piece of metal and you put it in the fire, leave it in the fire for an hour or so, it becomes glowing hot. You can take this piece of metal and touch things and set them on fire. You can put fires around. But after a while, this is going to lose its heat. You can put it on your tongue and nothing. If you are practicing or searching for truth and retain personal identity, you're loyal to personal identity, you'll find that you'll come to satsang, you feel charged up. But as you move about in daily life, the power seems like it's leaving. And it is good. Because freedom is free, but it is not cheap. And when I say it's not cheap, I'm not talking about money or nothing. I mean that you must have that earnestness. You must really have that. That is your final desire, is to be free to be what you are. And you must stay with it. Because out of habit, our attention is easily pulled out through the senses, as though the mind is shopping through the senses for sense objects all the time. And you must watch. Watch from this place, but don't get lost in the movie of watching. So watch your watching itself. And your awareness self will not give any impression. That's why I ask you, will this fade?
No.
Right. It doesn't fade. But as long as you have the idea that you're a person, your person will keep fading and coming back. It's like a pull. That you must observe. When you can observe this, you'll be as though you're the fire itself, or plugged into the powerhouse itself. We get this or not? So satsang is going to be the nest where Buddhas are hatched. Where the Christ consciousness becomes alive again. It's fantasy?
No.
If you are determined to be happy, nothing can stop you from being happy. Similarly, if you are determined to be free, nothing can stop you to be free, except your own belief and the loyalty to personal identity. Have I told you any lies today?
No.
We'll sit for a moment or two like this. encourage that we are not holding on to any shape or any idea. Because whatever shape you take, the mind will come to send you on another journey. Whatever movement or sensation is appearing inside your being, you're aware of that also. Every state of mind, every attachment with any concept leads to some kind of functioning, and it's fine. But is the pure self a function? So just be present without waiting. Waiting involves the mind. Just being present is to sit in your own heart. May what you have grasped today inside your heart flourish, blossom, and bear eternal fruit. May all the challenges that come in the mind add to your strength. May you continue increasing in wisdom, in discernment, in love, in blessedness, in peace. And may your life, each one, just continue unfolding as a beautiful flow, unmolested by the deceiving mind. And though troubles will come, challenges will come, they're not coming as a sign of failure. They actually come as a sign of God's love, that each one must grow. Thank you for today.